So this entire assignment is about determining the outlier. Okay, it's about picking out the outlier and deciding how that outlier affects our data. Okay? Yes, sir. All right, so this table shows the total tackles from the Wildcats football players last season. So we have several players here. They've listed their names and they've listed their total number of tackles for the entire season. So the first one says, which player's total tackles is an outlier in the data? Let me be able to write up here. So which one is an outlier? Which one sticks out as not fitting in, as not making sense? The 3. Oh, wait a minute. It asked for the name. Sorry, what's his name? Robert. And how many tackles did he have? 3. So, the next part says, calculate the mean and median for the total tackles, but do not include the outlier in your calculations. Show your work below. So, let's look below. Let's see. Mean, and everybody should have your calculator up on your device, whatever device you're working on.
Did you get your calculator set? Did you get your calculator set?
Yep, I did. What I want you to do right there for the mean, right here, I want you to write all the numbers right here. We have 64, 77, 71, 79, 69, 52, 54, 82, and 88. Now, what's the first thing we have to do when we're calculating the sum?
Put them from least to greatest.
When we're doing the mean, we don't have to calculate. We don't have to put them least to greatest. We can, but because we have to do that for the median. So if you want to do that, let's go ahead and do it, and we'll write it right here for the median. So order your numbers from least to greatest. When you number them least to greatest, you should have 52, 54, 64, 69, 71, 77, 79, 82, and 88. When we're calculating the mean, what is our first step? After putting them in order, what do we do next?
Add up all the numbers.
We add up all the numbers. So we've got to figure out the sum. Using your calculator, I want you to do that. How many times should you add up the numbers?
Twice.
At least twice. How many people got 636? Now, the second step is to divide by the number of numbers. How many numbers do we have? How many? 9. So I need to divide by 9. It tells us to round to the nearest whole number. So, what's the mean number of tackles? Round to the nearest whole number. Okay, so if we're rounding to the nearest whole number, we've got to look at this 6 right here. That 6 is going to tell us what to do with the 0. What does the 6 tell us to do with the 0? To go up. We've got to go up 1. So, what's my whole number that I'm rounding to?
71.
71. So, my mean is 71. Now, for the median, what do we do? First step is to order least to greatest. We've already done that. Step 2, mark off least, greatest, until we get to the middle. So, let's start. Least, greatest, least, greatest, least, greatest, least, greatest, and I'm left with 71.
Our mean and our median the same.
Our mean and our median are the same. That's right. All right, so over here on the top side, on the top right, it asks us to recalculate using the outlier, okay? So this time we're going to do it all again using the outlier. So the first thing that we should do is put them in order. Since I know they have to be in order for the median, I'm going to go ahead and write them right here. And I'm going to start with 3.
You're practically just putting it in the same exact order, except you are just adding 3 at the beginning.
You're adding a 3 at the beginning. Yes.
Wait, isn't it 88, not 89?
Is it 88?
Yeah. 88.
All right, to figure out the mean, what do we have to do? What was our sum without the outlier? It was 636. And what are we adding to 636? 3. So what's our new sum going to be? 639. We didn't even need a calculator for that, did we? Now we're going to divide by our number of numbers. How many numbers do we have now? We had 9 before, so how many do we have now? 10. Now look at me. You better not type this into a calculator. You best not. We've already talked about this. If I'm dividing this number by 10, my decimal is here at the back. What do I do with my decimal? If I'm dividing, do I move my decimal to the left or do I move my decimal to the right? I move it back because I'm dividing. I'm making my number smaller. So if I move my decimal one place because I've got 1 0, what's my answer? 63 9/10. It told us before to round to the nearest whole number. So what is the 9 going to make my 3 do? Turn to a 4. So my mean is what? 64. Miss Andrews has two green ones up on her top shelf. They're just like that pink one. All right. How many numbers do we have right now?
10.
We have 10. So if we have an even number, how many numbers are we going to be left with in the middle? 2. Okay. So let's go until we're down to 2. All right. So let's mark out low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, and I've got 2 numbers left in the middle. I have 69 and 71. Well, let's be logical here, okay? What's halfway between 69 and 71?
70.
70. So what's our median now?
70.
70.
What's our mean and median change?
So let's look down here. Look at your calculations for mean and median when you did not include the outlier. How many players had total tackles that were less than the mean, were greater than the mean, less than the median, and greater than the median? I want you to answer those 4 questions and stop. Right. Okay, so how many players had a total tackle that were less than the mean? What was the mean over there, by the way?
71.
And what was the median?
71.
So, how many players had less than the mean? 4. How many players had more than the mean? 4. How many players were less than the median? 4. How many players were greater than the median? 4. So now, when we do include the outlier, when we include the number 3, how many are, our mean now is 64. So how many are less than 64 now? 3. How many are greater than 64?
6.
6. What's the median?
70.
70. So how many are less than the median?
5.
And how many are more than the median?
5.
5. So let's look at number 3. Look at your answers for questions 1 and 2. If you wanted to accurately represent the number of tackles that a typical Wildcats player made for the season, should you use the mean or the median to report the data? Justify your answer with supporting details. So if we wanted to know accurately how much a typical Wildcats player tackles during a season, should we use the mean or the median? All right, if we use the mean, if we use the mean, it's 4 and 4, 3 and 6. If we use the median, we're 4 and 4 and 5 and 5. Which one more accurately gives us a middle number? Okay, let's look at it a different way. Your mean went from 64 to 71 without the outlier. Your median was 70 with the outlier, 71 without the outlier. So if you were looking at this data, which one is a more accurate representation of a typical Wildcats player? Is Robert White a typical Wildcats player? No, he's not. So if we were looking at this data, what should we use to tell the middle, the center number for a typical Wildcats player? Should we use the median or the mean? The median. Why should we use the median?
Because it's the middle number, so it's most likely going to be more accurate.
It's the middle number. And did the middle number change very much based on adding an outlier?
No, it just changed one. It just went up one.
So you need to write that. Let me get there. So tell me how we can write that. Let's see. You should use the median to report the data. Did the outlier affect the median as much as it affected the mean? No. All right, flip it over. On the back, you've got the table shows the total student enrollment in the middle schools in Ascension Parish Public Schools last year. So you've got Central Middle School, Dutchtown, Galvez, Gonzales, Lake, Prairieville, and St. Admont. And it wants to know which one's the outlier, the name of the school, and what is that school's enrollment. So I want you to do all of this by yourself, okay? I'm going to be walking around and checking on you, but I want you to do all of those by yourself.